Hey, what is up, everyone? It's Rich. All right, good morning. It is Monday morning. It is early, and we are going to look at Philippe Drouillet, and I hopefully didn't completely butcher his name. So we were talking about super detailed art yesterday, and it opened up a lot of really fun conversations. The comment section was super cool, and someone mentioned this artist. I'm aware of his work. I've collected it kind of more in Heavy Metal Magazine, and I started thinking, I was like, you know what, I think I might have some of his stuff. And so I looked around, and I was able to find this series and then another book. So I kind of cherry picked pages. I haven't looked at this stuff though. I basically picked from thumbnails, and this is going to be really really fun. This guy's stuff is insanely detailed, and this afternoon we're going to do more insanely detailed art. So it's going to be a battle royale for who is the detailed king. Then you guys can all vote. All right, so let's go into full screen mode. And yeah, so this is the 6 Voyages of Lone Sloan. And here we go. Hang on, this stuff is insane, I will say that. Oh, okay, so it actually is going to take us here. Interesting. Okay, so this is, I have no idea how to pronounce this, and I'm not going to embarrass myself trying to do it. If you want to try to post it phonetically in the comments section, please go for it. This is a really, really cool drawing for a lot of different reasons. It's a very dynamic drawing. I like, in some ways, how crude it is, but still very, very well executed. I mean, it reminds me a lot of, like, Elric in a weird way, like almost like an undead Elric. And I believe this book was published in 74, so probably drawn in either 72 or 73. And you'll see some really, really interesting parallels throughout this book to Mobius and Giger, and probably other stuff too. But I mean, this stuff was very influential, because I see this spilling over into other artists. So yeah, this is some crazy shit. We'll see if it continues in this book. No, it went to the other one. So this is the Lone Sloan stuff. But after I picked about maybe 15 or 20 pieces from this book, and then we'll get to that other series, which is actually really, really cool too. This is these are a little cleaner, I guess you might say. It's still pretty rough though. And one thing that I did notice in his work was that there is actually a little bit of a Jack Kirby influence, which is kind of interesting to see. But you'll see what I'm talking about in a little bit. And it's interesting too is he tends to drift back and forth between two things that he's doing, which is this more loose, probably drawn in ink style that he does, and then you'll see the Kirby stuff start to pop up, and he inks it quite differently too. It's kind of funny. It's like you can sort of see his more probably planned drawings versus the stuff that's a little more like he blocked stuff in and then drew it in ink. But anyway, you'll see what I'm talking about. It's really, really iconic stuff. In fact, it was interesting in this series. I don't know if I'll have the pieces in here. There was 2 pieces that looked a lot like the Giger Dune pieces that he did, which was really, really interesting, because I know if you watch the documentary Alejandro's Dune, or whatever it's called, this has a Kirby vibe to me. I know that Mobius and Giger are working together. I mean, I'm not sure if Drouillet was, but if he was, I would be curious which piece came first. And this actually kind of has a little bit of the, you know, I mean, Giger very well could have just been a fan of this guy's stuff. I mean, it's totally possible that the influence goes that way. This, I think, came out a little bit later, though. I would have to check the date on this. But anyway, look at this. This is really cool. Kind of MC Escher-esque. Very, very cool piece, though. My OpenGL is participating. These files are high res, but I don't think I have as many open as in other things. But this is a really cool piece. It's super fun to look at. I love this. But you know, people love stuff like this. There's just no two ways about it. I mean, you know, there's nothing better than getting lost in like a really cool comic book or graphic novel, whatever you want to call it. This is a great little panel. These are cool figures. This is nice. A little bit of a Kirby vibe there, but you see what I'm saying with like a little bit of the feel of Kirby. I'm definitely gonna try. Well, there probably won't be a Comic-Con this year, but I definitely will pick up some of these books. So I would like to own them. And from what I saw, I kind of looked around online a little bit. Earl Grey did at least one video on him, and your best bet is honestly to get the original reproductions, because the colors kind of shifted in the more recent reprints, and they definitely look better in their original form. Look at this. This is cool. Man, it's nice. But yeah, odds are he probably doesn't pencil all this out. He probably blocks in something like this and maybe sets up the bigger shapes and then goes in and details it. Because it would be just kind of like you'd really be working yourself hard to go in super, super tight and then, you know, ink it again. It's like you're drawing it twice. This is all really, really cool. Man, it's awesome. It's got like a Forever People vibe. It's interesting too, is I mentioned this in another video a while back, but somewhere within the last year I either read or listened to an interview with Frazetta, and there's not a lot out there, so I can't remember where I heard it, but someone, and it might have even been in a Doc Dave video, but Frank actually did like Jack Kirby's art, which I thought was kind of cool. It was neat to hear that, because I've never heard him really talk about other comic book artists, or at least like what I consider superhero comic artists. But yeah, Frank thought Kirby was real good, which is kind of neat, you know. It's pretty cool. Mass is great. So fun. It's funny too, is my introduction to comics was kind of more stuff like this. I had one friend when I was a teenager that was into comic books, but he liked weird shit. He was way out there, and so it was like the stuff that I saw would be stuff more like this. He wasn't buying like kind of mainstream stuff. So it was fun. It made it very creative right out of the bat, where it felt like you were looking at something that was like a little fringe, which is cool. This is a great piece. Okay. This stuff is loaded with detail and layers and designs, and you know what lazy motherfuckers would do now? They would just clone this shit. It's whack. Cool. Yeah, man, he even has like little people in this. That's pretty neat. Like little figures. This is cool. Yeah, I was looking at the thumbnails and picking these particular pages from that, and then I opened up the other full book. So yeah, I thought it would be fun to sort of continue this like who's the craziest detailed person out there. I've got a good one for this afternoon. So it'll be fun. And then if you have any other recommendations, I will do Kenneth Rocafort. I'm not going to do him today, but I've got something set aside. It's earlier work, but I thought it would be fun to check out. So we'll see. I've never, ever seen the issues, so I'm curious of what it will look like. And we could do something more recent also later. But it's possible that Richard Bennett was into DRUILLET. It's very, very possible. Considering he was collecting comics in Uruguay, it's very, very hard to say what he was exposed to as a kid. Shit is cool. Look at that. I love the feet, like, going into the planet. Man, that's awesome. If you haven't seen it, I would recommend the, Wayne Barlow video. If you like stuff like this, check out my Wayne Barlow video. It's Barlow, B-A-R-L-O-E. I did, I can't think of what it's called. Do I have it in my office? I might. Let me see. I'm just looking to see if I can spot the Wayne Barlow book. Oh, it's called Barlow's Inferno, but I don't think I have it in here right now. Yeah, I don't. Oh, there it is. I do have it in here. Yeah, Barlow's Inferno, but it's very, very cool, and it is very detailed. They're painted pieces, but he basically did like a series of like hell paintings. They're kind of cool. This is cool. Right, we need to get hustling just a little bit because I want to get to the That's great. If you haven't seen, there's a new graphic novel series that did Elric. It kind of has a vibe like this. It's really good. I saw a guy did a YouTube review of it. It's a heavy metal channel, but he went into some of this. This is great too. This is so beautiful. I felt like when I saw this, I had seen this shot before somewhere, and I was trying to figure out where it was. And I'm not saying that he nicked it, but I'm wondering if someone else sort of did something similar to this. But yeah, when I saw it, I was like, that looks familiar. This is really, really cool, though. I love the scale of everything, and it's super neat to see all this like castle stuff up in here, up in here, up in there. Look at that. It's cool. That's nice. His signature is actually very cool too. I like that. I'm not sure if he ran with that for his whole career, but and I mean, it's interesting too, is you look at how advanced these drawings are, but like, look at that face. I mean, it's interesting duality to his work. Is either he's not that particular about stuff. I mean, I would never ever like let that face go. I'm not being critical of what he's doing. I'm just saying that like this doesn't look like the same guy that draws all this, but clearly it is. And so there's I mean, I think there's a lesson to be learned from that. Whereas, like, I don't really care that it looks like that because everything else looks so good. It's just a storytelling beat. So sometimes you have to let stuff go. And I think he's got a good thought process on it. So, but it kind of that almost reminded me of like an early Barry Windsor Smith drawing when his heads would get kind of weird. But even this, I mean, it's like it looks cool. But I mean, that's kind of the style. I think the other head was weirder. Some wild statues. This is cool. Oh yeah. Doing it and doing it. That's cool. Yeah, her face, her jaw is really, really dropping. Those are tough shots to draw, though. But yeah, he still evolved out of this. This is really, really cool. Man, that's great. In fact, I think this was one of the. I don't know. It looks very similar to the thing that Earl Grey was going over, but I think it's just a coincidence. It was all these heads. This is so awesome, though. God. Man, that's so cool. Love all these. Oh, yeah, look at this. I remember seeing this last night when I was going through the files. Man, it's so crazy. I love stuff like this. It's so neat. Look at that. Man, that's cool. God dang. His line is all very, like, pretty uniform. It gets thicker in here. It's dark. I mean, it's obviously darker, but there is some variance to the line. I was trying to figure out, like, some of it looks like it's like a pen. And then some of this looks a little more like it's not. Like there's a taper, meaning it gets thin to thick. It's probably a combination of the two. I think it would be faster to do stuff like this with a pen, and then fill in the stuff that, or do the areas that you need to with like like you see these lines. Have more of a variety. Like see that right there, it gets thinner and thicker. So that's like a tool. Not that a regular pen isn't. But some of this other stuff, it just looks like he takes like one, you know, like a one size pen and just draws it all. And again, that's the fastest way to move through this much detail, is to just do it like that. It would be way quicker. Using a crow quill and going back and forth and dipping it and throwing lines and stuff like that, it's much slower. That's funny. This is great. Oh, that's really cool. Great shot. Man, that is awesome. Dude, this is what I'm talking about. There's so much good comic shit. When people dwell on that some Marvel book sucks, it's like, dude, there's more good shit out there than you could look at in a lifetime. But if you're gonna obsess over some crappy Marvel book, then it's like, use that time and like find something that's better. Like, seriously. It's like, there's plenty of good shit out there. Just seek it out. It's a crazy face again. Yeah, it's awesome. Yeah, he looks like he's got like a more broad head. Man, this is a great shot right here. That is really cool. This is great too. Yeah, I think his head actually has a weirder proportion. Yeah, it looks like they all do. This is so cool. Oh man, it's funny because I'm so sick of Cthulhu type stuff, but that is actually really, really cool. But I think it's just been overdone. So it's tough to impress me with this kind of stuff. But this looks great, and this is all so creative. The stuff that's around it, it really, really sells it, I think, even more. Yeah, horror got boring for me. Honestly, people, when they ask like about the black drawings and stuff like that, honestly, I kind of felt like horror was getting played out. Was one of the reasons that I sort of stepped away from it, because it's like I was just seeing the same stuff over and over online, and I know that that doesn't necessarily reflect what I would want to do, but I was kind of like, I felt oversaturated with it. So it's like I wanted to wait until I felt like it was something exciting and sort of new again. Shit happens. You can feel it. It's a vibe. But you need to catch on to that stuff early. That's the thing. Is you don't want to be the last man standing on something that is not relevant. And I just go with my gut. But my gut was telling me, step away. This is great. Man, this is such a great page. Fuck. This shit would take a long time. Honestly, this is... Oh my gosh, let me think. This would take at least 100 hours. I'm counting how long I think it'll take. Just to do this area down here, unless he's like ridiculously fast, this would be at least 12 hours. Because this would be like an hour. I mean, you could maybe get through that in like 90 minutes, 2 hours, but I think 3 hours, 4... 5, 6 hours. This would take a long time. This is probably 6 hours at least right there. So even on low, that's 12 hours just to do the lower half. He could have maybe got through this in like 60 hours. Still, it's a long time to spend on a page. And he would have to have been flying. You know, that's like in a perfect world where you don't make any wrong decisions. Stuff is all really cool. Oh, that's cool. Oh, are those ships? Wow, that's really cool. Interesting. Damn. Yeah, that is awesome. Oh, man, look at that. That is so cool. See, this guy gets it. He's doing stuff that you don't normally see. And then the way that he blends everything, meaning that, like, some people, this would be it. You would get, like, one creepy statue or some sort of ship that's blended with a castle. But he takes it the extra mile and gives you, like, 3 worlds in one kind of thing. It's a good move on his part because it just differentiates his stuff from sort of the people that want to sort of dip their toe in this stuff. He's like, no, no, no. You don't dip your toe. Go all in. It's cool. Man, it's awesome. Yeah, it was funny. It's like this stuff looks like hyper detailed early P. Craig Russell. Meaning P. Craig Russell might have been a fan of this. Maybe. Yeah, that's really cool. Man, look at that. That is so neat. And again, this is the kind of Cthulhu stuff that I like to see. And again, I apologize if I'm butchering the pronunciation of it. I know for years I was saying it wrong because I had learned it as a kid, quote unquote, learned it. It was like, what is it? The Melabone. Oh my God, as a kid we would call them the Melabonians. But I didn't know. I mean, we're like 11-year-olds. Who the fuck knew? But those are hard habits to break. Like if you learn a word when you're a kid, like charisma. Anyway, yeah, but I think it's Melabone. I had to write it down so I would remember it because I listened to a book on tape of Elric. It was awesome too. I actually need to finish it. This is such a great piece. I love the way that he inked this shit. I mean, just the way it's drawn. It's not so much an inking thing. This area in particular right here is fucking magical. It's really, really good. I don't know what it is, but something about the hilt and this area right here is like, I'm in love with that. This is great too. He's still alive. He's 75 years old. He was born in 1944. He's a French comic book artist. I mean, I would consider him pretty much like a comic illustrator. And he is fucking great. Very visionary. And it's not easy to do, man. Even back then, there was a lot of really good fantasy art that was coming out. And you know, from the 50s until the mid 70s. You know, I think every generation you kind of feel like everything's been done, and then it just ends up being hybrids of things. Look at this. This is so wild. I'm hoping, man, that's really crazy. That is so cool. This gets a little flat right here. Like this building, if it was curving around, these would start to foreshorten more. I'm just pointing it out for people that are trying to learn that this is close. But yeah, this stuff would start to wrap just a little bit more. These are close. This is better. This is really nice down here. Damn. He went all in. Dude, this guy is a beast. This is really cool too. Fuck. Well, I feel lazy. I think this is the same piece again. Yeah, I guess it is. Oh, sorry. My lasso is... Okay. Here we go. Sorry about that. Oh, man, this is great. I actually love these kind of colors. It's very trippy and like so not something that you would see now, but it looks really, really cool. These borders are great. I would guess Barry Windsor Smith would have been a fan of this stuff. It's funny because Barry did a lot of borders like this. His almost looked like paste ups at times, like he would maybe do some of it and then maybe flip it, but this looks all, yeah, it's individually drawn. It's very cool. Damn. This is another one of those pieces that would take a long, long time to draw. That's exceptionally well done. It's nice to know that this guy's still alive. It's such a bummer when you discover stuff like this or you start getting into it and like they're already gone. This guy's enjoying the view. Damn, this is crazy. I'm going to say this is more detailed than Richard Bennett. So far, Druyet is the champion of all detail. If you think you can put someone up against him, you let me know the book and the artist. And we will have a throwdown. This might not even be his most detailed stuff. This is very early in his career. Dude had many, many years after this of work. This stuff is so awesome. It's funny because it has a little bit of that Grateful Dead sort of surreal pop art post, like gig poster vibe at times. This is cool. The Wayne Barlow stuff is actually very, very detailed. I don't think it's this detailed, but he definitely has a lot of detail. These are cool, man. He kind of did this in that other story, I think. Yeah, you could definitely... I'm not sure... The Necronomicon, I think, came out later. Oh, This is badass. It's very, very possible that Giger was a fan of this. You know? Which is interesting, because sometimes Giger almost seems like he created himself in like a bubble. I mean, you see Salvador Dali in his work, but I could see him being down with this. This is great. It reminds me of one of my black drawings a little bit. This is cool. Oh, man. He's like, Jesus Christ, there's a lot of detail. Look at that. That is really cool. Wow. Oh, now the GL crashed. Fuck you, GL. That's cool. He's gesturing to the cube. This is really, really cool. Excuse me. Yeah, it's nice. I'm checking. He definitely mirrored this, but they both look individually drawn based on what I'm seeing. So he probably laid this out and then light boxed this half, because it doesn't match up identically, but it is damn close. But you can see like there's a shape there with a dot. Here it's a shape with a dot below it. So little things like that are indicators that it was individually done. And yes, I do look for stuff like that, especially now. Oh, and someone mentioned that Hercules book. That Hercules book is actually very, very badass. Those guys are CG artists. Just like, you probably know that, but that actually, both of those guys did that with like a lot of computer stuff, but it looks great. They're really good. It's probably one of the best representations of that style of work that I've seen. So yeah, I did check it out. I would definitely get that book. I don't have the money right now just to get it, but I will definitely pick that up at some point. I need to keep a list. This is great. This is really, really cool. Perspective is a tiny bit off on that guy's head, but it doesn't really matter. This is all really cool. That's nice too. Man, that's really cool anatomy right there. And this too. He's a trippy dude. He's like, it's really, really interesting what he does and what he chooses to focus on. It's really interesting. Just shows how different artists are, you know. Some people are kind of control freaks throughout the whole process. Others have, you know, things that they're into more. I've seen that with friends of mine that pencil, where it's like they really like the detail, and then sometimes don't really care about other stuff, and it's like pretty interesting. I have one friend that always gets shit for his storytelling, but you know, draws the shit out of the pages, but I guess his storytelling is unclear and he doesn't follow scripts well. So who knows? That's really cool. Very cool design. Yeah, it's nice. And I mean, this does sort of harken to something maybe Giger would do. Not literally, but it's interesting. I'll have to look for some interviews with this guy. I think we're getting towards the end. This might be actually like one or two away from the last pages. This is great though. Man, the inking on this is awesome too. It's very, very like dynamic. This is all really great. This is the full spread. Dude, look at that. He could do a Green Lantern book with this sort of detail. Oh, and for anyone that stuck out to the end of this video, Jim Lee is doing an actual very, very cool thing for comic book stores. He's going to do 60 commission sketches, which generally sell for quite a bit of money, honestly. And he's donating each piece to one store. So honestly, I think he'll raise probably $600,000 or $700,000 with it. It's going to be a lot of money, and it'll all go to stores. So anyway, you could check that out. He mentioned it on Instagram this morning, and I think it's a really, really nice gesture. It would be cool if other people that are still, you know, doing well in this environment to help out the stores, because stores do matter, regardless of if you're going to publish digitally or not. I hate the idea of there not being comic book stores just in general, because they're fun to go to and look at back issues. All right, have a good one. I'll be back this afternoon with another video. Take it easy and let me know who you think is detailed, the most detailed, and we'll go check it out.